Hello. Hi. My name is Leslie Knope, and I work for the Parks and Recreation Department. Can I ask you a few questions? Would you say that you are enjoying yourself and having fun, having a moderate amount of fun and somewhat enjoying yourself, or having no fun and no enjoyment? I'm gonna put a lot of fun.
Welcome to the very first episode of Parks and Conversation, a rewatch of Mike Schurz and company, Greg Daniels, Amy Poehler, the whole gang, their program, Parks and Recreation. And my name is Jason, a longtime fan of Parks and Rec, and I'm joined by my friend, Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, longtime fan of Jason.
Wow, that's totally weird. So, I am excited to just jump into this project. And as we go, we're going to figure it out along the way. But we are looking at season 1, episode 1 of Parks and Recreation. This is a short season, 6 episodes, and it starts off right away. And in the intro to this episode, you heard a clip from Leslie taking a survey with a child playing on a playground. Right away, Jeremy, what are your first impressions of Leslie in this program?
She's a go-getter. She loves her job. I mean, she wants to know how much people love if people love parks as much as she does.
Right. And she's surprised when people don't.
Yeah.
So that's super fun. The park is also an interesting thing that right away that they get into is she's doing the survey. Kid is totally bewildered by this adult talking to her. But then a kid runs up and lets Leslie know there's a drunk in the slide.
Yeah.
And having cleaned up many parks in my day for different community projects, not court ordered or anything, I've always wondered if somebody would fall asleep in one of those slides, and it didn't seem possible. But maybe it is possible. So it doesn't seem comfortable, that's for sure.
That is for sure. I'm glad she had that broom handy.
Yeah, where'd that broom come from?
Just, there it was. Fun fact, that was a real park that they shot that in Los Angeles. And it was one of the only parks left that had a slide like that because those slides had been deemed too dangerous. Mostly
too
because
dangerous.
Yeah, probably because drunks fall asleep in them.
Yeah, so they really impede the slide functionality.
Yeah.
So okay, but that's very strange because they still have a lot of those up in this area.
Well, it's Thunderdome up here.
It is Thunderdome. We do what we want. We do what we want.
Playground wise, yeah.
So the intro to this episode also has an 8-bit version of the theme song, and the theme song stays the same throughout the whole show, which is common for most shows.
Mm-hmm.
The opening credits are very similar to The Office, kind of montagey, looking at the cast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love this theme song.
Yes.
What do you think about the theme song?
Oh man, every time I hear it, I go, I should hear that at least one more time during the day. Not like outside of watching this. I just need it to pop up sometime. Like, why doesn't it come up more often?
Yeah,
it's so good. I want to like march or go do something active. It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a little ray of sunshine.
I like it,
and I think it encapsulates well the whole vibe of Leslie Knope is because she's an eternal optimist, and the theme song is so like upbeat and ready to go, and it makes this weird juxtaposition between what they're doing, like Leslie, who's positive about everything and can conquer the world, and then the government and her Parks and Rec team, which are not nearly as excited about this job as she is. And so I think it just makes an interesting contrast. But all the while you're like, I really like these people. I really like this show. And then you're bump, ba-da-da-bump. It's fun.
Yeah, it's totally fun. And it won a Grammy.
The theme song won a Grammy?
It did. It was composed by Gabby Marino and Vincent Jones.
Wow, you've done quite a lot of research already.
It's one of my favorite theme songs of all time.
So you looked it up.
Yeah, it's way better than the Lost theme song.
What about the 60 Minutes theme song?
I've never seen that. I don't have enough time. 60 minutes is far too long to give to one show.
I know, it's brutal.
That's why I like comedies. 22 minutes. Let's get it done.
Get it in, get it out, make it happen.
Jokes.
Leave them laughing.
That's right.
So right away, they set up the cast in the theme song. All of the main characters are in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes right to one of the most exciting things that you could ever be a part of, which is staff meeting. And at staff meeting, we meet the main office cast for Parks and Rec. We have Ron Swanson, who is wearing a suit. And I forgot in these early episodes how much he wears a suit.
Yeah, it's true.
He gets much more casual as the show goes on. But here, wearing a suit, you've got Donna, whose hair is very different than it will be. And I don't think she says a single word in this whole episode.
No, she doesn't.
And Jerry's there. Tom Haverford is there, who is Leslie's number 2 guy in the office, and which is funny because Leslie is Ron's number 2 person. So
he's number. Is it squared at that point? He's number 4? Is that what
I didn't realize that everybody got number 2s in the department, but maybe that's what's going on.
Gotcha.
Then you also have April, who is the intern, and we don't get a ton from her in this episode.
No.
But she will become one of the best characters in this whole program. And so they need to do a town forum, which is also one of the great elements of this show, just because it introduces us to the town.
And it really sets up the stage as far as, again, Leslie's character, because she's excited about it and asks who wants to join me, and everybody looks away. Like it's just instant, like more character building. It's great. Every opportunity to show how much Leslie loves all this, and everyone else is like, this is the worst.
Yeah. And having been in many meetings where they're asking for volunteers, I've played that role where of looking away, like I've got a lot of notes to consult here. I can't look you in the eyeballs. So it's really relatable. And because everybody, like in their jobs, there's stuff you don't want to do. And so I love that they just like, we don't want to do this.
Now you're the one that leads a lot of these meetings in your real job. How do you, like, when everyone's looking down, how do you pick that person that's like, well, you're it. You get the crummy job?
Well, I don't want to reveal too many of my secrets in the event that some of the people who work with me will hear this, which they probably won't. But I kind of just have a list and I just rotate through the list in my brain.
Perfect.
Who did I pick last time?
Excellent.
Somebody else this time. Often I just kind of work clockwise around the table. So,
oh man, there's a big tip right there. Move spots.
They never do.
All right.
There are no assigned seats, but they always sit in the same place because we are creatures of habit.
That's right.
Leslie's enthusiasm is also displayed in the way that she planned for this town forum. And I don't know if she reserved the theater for this meeting that was going to have maybe 25 people in it. And the theater looked like it would seat well over 500 people.
Sure.
And because she was just very excited about all of this. But also in planning events, you get a lot of things that you didn't think about. Like, is the janitor going to turn off the lights in the middle of this event? Which is exactly what happens as they're getting started with the thing. They turn off the lights and have to move to a smaller classroom where they meet their people, the town.
And I think already one of the funniest jokes, like just to start the episode up to that point, was the perfect timing of Aziz Ansari, Tom Haverford saying, "In total darkness, any questions about permits?"
Right.
Just on point. Like, hey, let's this happened. What do you guys think? So,
right.
And then what was so genius about it is that they go from this giant auditorium to a classroom that now is too small to hold everybody. There's people standing in the back. It's just
right.
The show's I will probably say this way too many times. It's great. They thought about so many little funny things outside of just like the dialogue and the situations.
Right. And the two characters that we really get to meet from The Office and get to know them the best are Tom and Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
and they are a they are really well developed right away.
Yes.
Which I love. Just Tom is not caring about his job. And just that point, like any questions about permits, like that is Tom will ask the job question at the worst time and he will consistently be that way, but he will also ask terrible questions when he should be working. And we'll get to that in a minute. In the town forum, we meet some of the characters. I tried to find a script that was easy to read online, and I couldn't find. And so I was one that was easy to follow through. So I was looking for the characters' names for these town people, because they'll come back again and again.
Yes.
And I found something from springfield.co.uk/view_episode_scripts.php ? /and /show=episode=S01E01. Have you been to that website?
I always get the ampersand and the equal sign like switched over.
All right. I've included a link in the show notes.
Oh.
And so as you walk through, like you can see the all of the different characters, but it's hard. This website is not super well organized, but there are a few people that I love.
That's a lot of yellow.
That's a lot of yellow.
Very yellow. I encourage you to go look at that if you haven't. Continue.
Yeah. So first off, the first person that we meet in the town forum, and I don't know his name here in the script. He says, "Well, it's a great day because last month they put me in jail." And then the next one is the head of the police is a 9th degree Mason.
Yeah.
So there's like conspiracy theories happening. The music is so loud. Stop the graffiti, please. And then I don't like obscenities just as much as you don't like them. No, it drives me crazy. I have kids, right? But I have my little 3-year-old and I'm going through the park and someone's like, "Hey, my blank." And the guy's like, "You, my blank, and you blank head." I love all of this stuff because the guy's like, "I hate all this stuff." And then he just goes for it and talks about it. Like, it's no big deal. My kid's not here now.
Yeah. He's part of the problem at that point.
Yeah. And even as Leslie is listening to all of these things, it cuts away, which was a tactic in The Office, a cutting away, talking headshot. And so they implement that for this show. And this is one of the best lines in all of it.
These people are members of a community that care about where they live. So what I hear when I'm being yelled at is people caring loudly at me.
I love that. People just caring loudly at me. So,
ever the optimist.
Yeah, ever. And then finally, someone shows up who actually wants to do something in the town and make a difference because it affects her personally. Ann Perkins, who if fans of The Office will recognize from The Office season 3. She played Karen, Jim's girlfriend for a little bit. I did not really like Karen in The Office.
Yeah. She tried to manipulate Jim at one point, and yeah,
it wasn't the best character. And so Anne is a lot different and a lot more fun throughout this series, and is an important part. But this is really what starts the whole thing, as she is trying to fix the pit behind her house because her boyfriend broke his legs because he fell in the pit.
Yeah. Wait, hold on before we get too far. Anne is a great character because I feel like for the first couple seasons, she is the most, I don't know how to say this, like us, like she's the person that's been dropped into the middle of all this crazy Parks and Rec, all these crazy characters. And so, I mean, she gets her own kind of arc and stuff later on down the road, but it's just like, she's just experiencing all of the Leslie-ness and the Andy and the Ron, kind of like we are. And so she's not really a caricature of anything. And I thought that was a really genius part for that character to play. And she's a nurse.
Right. She is which is also good because you and I are both married to nurses. And I don't know about your wife, but my wife, when she sees anybody doing anything medical, she's like, that's not how that works.
Yes.
Does Terry do that?
All the time. Yeah. One of their favorite games to play in college was watch ER and tear it apart. So
right.
Luckily, there's not a lot of actual medical stuff happening in the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to watch Scrubs, but my wife couldn't do it. It was too fake for her. I'm like, this is TV. So
it's true. It's not the documentary Scrubs.
Right. Well, and that might be part of the problem with Parks and Rec is because it is a mockumentary. So
it's true.
It should be more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience with working with government, it is quite accurate. So they talk about how her boyfriend fell down the pit, and then Tom instantly starts sleazing.
Yeah.
He just starts asking about the commitment level of their relationship. And are you guys serious? Like, why don't you come over? Why don't we talk? And we also learn right away that he's actually married, but he's hitting on everybody. And so it's like, what is this guy? Who is Tom?
Right.
And so that's going to be a fun thing to
he's just comfortable. He's just comfortable talking to beautiful women. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what does Leslie do? She right away says, we're going to fix it. We're going to build a park. And makes, one of the most binding contracts of all, a pinky promise.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do something about it.
Really?
Yes, I will help you.
Is that a promise?
It's more than a promise. It's a pinky promise. I pinky promise all of you that I will help. And I will go to that location tomorrow, and we will fill in that pit. And then when that's done, we're going to put a park on the land.
Okay.
This park project is going to be at least 3 seasons of this show, right?
I believe so, yes.
I mean, it takes a long time to get really any progress on this park. Again, accurate representation of government.
Yeah. I mean, she did say this could be her Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam didn't just happen overnight.
Right. Yeah. But why does she want that is because she wants a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find out later her mom is in government. And so there is a Nope name. And so she wants something to attach to her name that will carry on beyond her time. And so she just wants to start the whole thing, build a legacy. Committees make things happen. And so she immediately starts to try to build a dream team, bringing on all the important people. And again, here's another moment with Tom trying to take down her notes.
You know what I need to do? Form a committee, right?
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah, because committees are power, and committees make things happen. Committees are the lifeblood of our democratic system. That's really good. Write that down.
Yep.
From time to time, when I think of an eloquent saying or a phrase, I have Tom write it down. He's collected them from my memoirs. Okay, read it back to me.
Committees cover our democracy with blood.
Sounded better when I said it.
There's this little bit here where she says, I think he's Libyan, and I'm from Pennsville, South Carolina, which just kind of keeps coming up because where they are in Indiana, he's super foreign, but he's not. He was born in America, which is great.
Right. His parents are Indian from India, but he was born in South Carolina. And so Tom's in on the committee, goes in. We then meet Mark Brandanowitz, who is personally my least favorite character in the whole show.
Yeah, very, very underdeveloped. He ended up kind of quitting. Well, not kind of. He did end up leaving completely.
Did he quit, or were they like, we're done with you?
I don't know. From what I've read, he kind of said, I'm done with the show. But another fun fact here is that the pit was supposed to be given to him as a way, or he went to Ron to get the pit done, not as a favor to Leslie, which we'll get to in a second, but so that he could get closer to Ann Perkins. because it was by her house, and they were supposed to be this romantic thing from the get-go. But I guess test people that saw it so that they didn't really like that, and they didn't like Mark or even Leslie in the beginning. They didn't think they were very relatable, and so they had to go back real quick and change some things. And that's why, as we see later, Mark does it out of the kindness of his heart for Leslie. But yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
I did not know that.
mm-hmm.
Well,
he's kind of a fixer. He fixes things.
Mark does.
Mark does, yeah.
Well, technically, he's a city planner, and so he's fully exciting. But Leslie is infatuated with him, and so that is part of the drama here as well. They had a brief encounter years ago, and Leslie is still holding on to that, and Mark doesn't care. He doesn't remember that at all.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember.
So he's just total sleaze. So we've got Tom the sleaze. We've got Mark the sleaze. Jury's still out on Jerry.
Yeah, city hall. I mean, government politics. It's really kind of going with the flow of everyone kind of being sleazy.
Total sleazeballs. So, all right. So get the committee together, and then they go to Anne's house, which is right next door. And this is where we meet. We meet one of the breakout stars from this show, Chris Pratt, also known as Andy Dwyer, also known as lead singer of Mouse Rat and Scarecrow Boat, and assorted other band names that we'll play in the future. But Chris Pratt, Andy's got both his legs broken. He's sitting on the couch. The camera crew is already in their house.
Yeah.
Which is for the documentary experience. It's like, what is happening?
Right.
The camera crew's like, hey, we're going to have some government people come over later. Can we just hang out in here for a bit?
As someone who's done a little bit of a film, I mean, you got to cover your angles, you don't want to miss anything.
Right. Yeah. So they go in there, and Andy is totally lazy, totally making the most of this opportunity for him to not move.
Sure.
With his
living the dream.
He's just watching TV. Hey, babe, can you make me some pancakes real quick?
One of the best
pancakes.
Lines. Yeah.
So, I mean, he is, there's not much happening with Andy here that we can see, but he will become amazing as the show continues. And so they go outside to see the pit for themselves. And Leslie wants to make sure they get a whole record of this. And I love that she asks April, document this, and April's response, document what? So I love that. And then Leslie falls down the pit, and she thinks she broke her neck. She needs the nurse, Ann Perkins, to give her a neck brace. She doesn't have one, so this is where Pancake's line comes in, and then goes back to the office where Leslie encounters Ron and asks for help. And what is Leslie wearing? A homemade travel pillow neck brace
with a piece of duct tape right across the front.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I have some memories of friends from college that were constantly hurting themselves, and they were.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Northwest University in Kirkland, Washington, and people just would fall down.
Very
and
dangerous
hurt themselves.
place. Yeah.
Well, it is pretty hilly. But they were all, they're all broke college students. And so they were trying to figure out, like, how can I take care of myself and recover in this situation? And I've seen people with these kinds of travel pillow solutions because they didn't have insurance. They didn't have any way to get to the doctor. So they're like, well, I'm going to just wrap my leg in my textbooks. Yeah, that's a good splint. So,
right.
Anyway, so she starts asking Ron, but Ron is right away. We're learning about Ron. He does not believe in the government at all. He thinks the government should be shut down. He wants to privatize the parks.
I've been quite open about this around the office. I don't want this parks department to build any parks because I don't believe in government. I think that all government is a waste of taxpayer money. My dream is to have the park system privatized and run entirely for profit by corporations, like Chuck E. Cheese. They have an impeccable business model. I would rather work for Chuck E. Cheese.
They have a perfect business, which always kind of, I don't want to say bothered me, because I would never want Ron to go away, but I always wondered, how did he get his job? Like, if he's so anti-government, why did he choose to work there?
Yeah. And, as a libertarian, he becomes, it becomes more and more apparent that he really does believe he's trying to take down the government from the inside.
Exactly. Yes.
And so he's doing a service for the people.
Mm-hmm.
But he still does the work,
It's true.
He goes to the meetings. He doesn't want to do anything in the meetings, but he still is involved.
He does the bare minimum.
Yeah, right. And later, his review of Tom is barely does anything. He's a perfect government employee. so good. But yeah, so this is where then she's trying to convince him to let her start the committee, get the thing going, make the park. And then Mark sees that Leslie is being made fun of by her team. And so he goes in to try to make it all happen, which is a weird turn for Mark right away. But now seeing the trivia that you pulled up, that it was supposed to be a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anne comes by and they introduce the murals, one of the many murals in City Hall. And they're awful. They're racist. They're violent. All tragic. And yeah. Do you think anybody, I just am thinking this thought now. Do you think there's anybody who has captured all of the murals and put them online someplace?
I don't know. That is now my goal. I will either find it or make it.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
Okay.
So Ron approves the subcommittee. They throw a little party with champagne. Anne is totally committed to make this project happen for 2 months. And I love that.
Even if it takes 2 months.
Even if it takes 2 months. So, yeah. So 6 years later, Anne will still be a cast member on this show. So, yeah. And then we cut to Ron's office as part of the end of the program. And that's the first episode of Parks and Rec. It's a quick one. It's
Yay.
22 minutes long. And we managed to talk already for 27-ish minutes about it. And so there's a lot to unpack in these episodes. Was there any other trivia that you discovered as you were working through this?
Yes.
Tell me some.
Okay. Ron Swanson later parted his hair on the left side. This is the one episode where he parts on the right. So watch out for that in coming episodes. One of the things we can talk about, and I would love to dig into some of the behind the scenes footage and stuff like that down the road. But a lot of the show was, the way the show was designed was for the improv, was so that multiple things can happen, a lot of different takes. So when Tom was sleazing on Anne, that was most all of that was improv, which is great. And even Andy, one of the reasons why we'll probably talk about this later too, he wasn't written into he was only supposed to last a couple episodes just to kind of bring the pit up. But because of his improvisational skills, they kept him on because he did such a great job with his character. So when he asked Leslie to hand him his scratchy stick, and then he starts to itch himself in the cast, that was not in the script at all. He just did that in the moment. So this show is chock full of those. So we'll try to point those out as we go.
Yeah, and one of the fun things is watching through the show, knowing that it is a lot of improv.
Yeah.
And Amy Poehler, her background is improv and sketch, even before Saturday Night Live.
Second City.
Second City. And so she's really good at improv. There is a entire improv filibuster in later seasons from Patton Oswalt that is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But Greg Daniels, who's one of the creators, he liked to do a thing called a fun run, which is everybody do the scene as written, and then let's do one last take, and it's just for fun. And often the fun run ends up in the show.
Yes.
Which is so fun to like think through, like what is actually written and what did they come up with. And listening to podcasts about The Office, with Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, like The Office has some great improvisational people as well, but a lot of what we see is scripted.
Yeah.
So that's a great testament to the writing. And so not all of Parks and Rec is fun run, but like it is really well written. It is, the characters grow and develop and you get to know them more and more. But also like they get to discover who the characters are.
Yeah.
Through their improvisation.
Right.
That's a hard word to say. Improvisation.
It is, right? I stumbled on that earlier. Yeah. A lot of the later, there's a couple storylines down the road where Greg Daniels and Michael Schur asked, it was Andy and April. Well, yeah, they're Aubrey and Chris, if they could do something with their characters, and they're like, yeah, no, let's go for it because that's what our characters would do. That you really take ownership of their characters and they protect them, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and one last bit of trivia there because it's towards the end is the Bobby Knight poster in Ron's office. I believe this is the only episode that you see it because after that there was some legal dispute thing, so they had to take it down for copyright reasons, and it gets replaced with, well, we'll just have to wait till next week.
What a cliffhanger!
It's almost like we wrote it in there.
Now I'm dying to know.
Spoilers, we did
not write it in there. That was all improvisation.
Nailed it.
First time. Well, we are excited to go down this road with you. And if you found this on the internet, awesome. Please, you can email us. You can follow us on Twitter, all kinds of stuff. Email is, I think it's parksandconversation@gmail.com. I set it up for now. And then the other on Twitter is Parks and Convos is our username on Twitter. So follow us and let's see what happens. Even if nobody follows us, Jeremy, it's just fun to talk to you about one of these great shows.
It is a conversation. Yeah, I like it.
This is a conversation I've had.
I can't wait. There's so much. Come back. You got to come back.
The cadence of this. Yeah, come back. Let's talk more about it.
Yes.
All right. So we should end and let people go on with their lives. And let's see if this pit ever turns into a park.
Sounds good.